I'm Phil Bolton with the Global Atlanta News Service, and I'm here today with Ambassador Teresita Schaffer, who heads the South Asian Studies program at the Center for Strategic and International Studies in Washington. Ambassador Schaffer, welcome.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
You're here to speak with students at Emory University, and you're also going to meet with a community of business leaders at the Metro Chamber.
Yes, and I'm also appearing at Emory at the Hala Institute, which I guess is students as well as faculty.
What do Atlantans need to know about South Asia?
Well, I think there's two important things. One is the tangle of issues connected with Afghanistan and Pakistan. Obviously, we have troops in Afghanistan. President Obama is, even as we speak, trying to wrestle with the question of what our strategy ought to be to make this intervention successful. But the United States also needs to think about how to work with Pakistan to assure both the success of what we're doing in Afghanistan and Pakistan's own future health. It's a politically turbulent country with nuclear weapons and with unresolved problems with both of its major neighbors. So that's one cluster of problems. The second one, I would say, concerns India. The U.S. government has made policy towards India out of hope for the benefits if things go right, in contrast to Pakistan, where I think its policy has been largely driven by fear of what happens if things go wrong. The potential of India as a growing economy, the stability and steadiness that it has as a country that's maintained democratic government for its entire 62 years of independence with one brief hiatus, and the growing convergence of interests between the United States and India make it a very interesting and important partner for the United States as it looks at Asia in the years ahead.
Our Secretary of State visited India in July. Do you consider that a fruitful visit?
Absolutely. This was the Obama administration's first opportunity to have sustained high-level contact with India. She was greeted like a rock star. She, of course, as a good Secretary of State, went through all the issues on the USIndia agenda, but more than that, she made her own personal impact on India. Of course, now the Indian Prime Minister is going to be coming to visit President Obama the 24th of November, so that will be the first extended summit-level engagement, and I expect that they will continue to put kind of their own stamp on the relationship that's taken place through the last two administrations.
How do you see the commercial relationship evolving between the U.S. and India?
You know, this has been one of the great success stories. India and the United States now do something like $40 billion a year in two-way trade. If you include services, in other words, the information technology industry, software development, and so on, the total goes up to upwards of $60 billion. The U.S. is, if you include services, India's most important trading partner. And India has a big enough trade with the United States to kind of reliably put it on the list of countries that American businesses and policymakers have to care about.
From the perspective of small to medium-sized companies, do you think that there's opportunity?
Absolutely. There's a lot that they can sell. There's a lot that they can buy. And of course, small and medium-sized companies is a diverse enough population that I can't give you, for instances that are pertinent to everybody. But this is a very diversified trading partner.
Atlanta has a very active Indian community. Do you see this as an asset for a city?
Oh, I certainly do. The Indian community in the United States, the Indian American community, is now over 2 million large. I don't know what the figures are here in Atlanta, but this is the most prosperous and best educated single ethnic group in the country. Living in Washington, I can tell you that Indian Americans are, prominently represented in what you might call all the yuppie professions. These are people who are going to be consequential in the U.S. that it's taking shape in 10, 20 years.
How do you see that future? What is the relationship between the U.S. and India going to be in 10 years?
Well, at one level, I'm very confident that it will be an important one. Look at the relationship between the two information technology industries. They're joined at the hip. My brother was CFO for Netscape for a number of years, and he told me that within Netscape, back when there was a Netscape, about 40% of his computer engineers were Indian passport holders. And that's before you count the ones that don't have Indian passports. And these are all people with both business and personal relationships in India. It's been an extraordinarily important economic relationship in an industry that's at the cutting edge in both places. That's one. Two is that India's and U.S. interests, particularly in Asia, in Asian prosperity, in Asian stability, in Indian Ocean security, run very much in parallel. There are issues we're going to have trouble with. No question about it. These are two big countries. That's natural. But in general, I think our common interests are going to keep pushing us together.